So, hello. So today we'll be covering the shoulder girdle with you guys. And I wanted to treat at least the first part of this like a bit like a Feldenkrais lesson, and starting with, how we sense our shoulder as it is now. Because I guess the more limited a view we have of our shoulder, which we do at the moment, I guess the closer we're going to be to our clients' sort of experience of their shoulder. A lot of them won't really know what bones are going on in there, what muscles, what even constitutes it. They're just going, oh, this hurts or this hurts. So it's probably a good idea to actually start with, at the moment, what do you relate to being your shoulder? So if you, say, partner up together right now, everyone's got someone? Good. So yeah, well, I'll explore with you some, just getting in contact with what we think our shoulder is at the moment and what, basically constitutes it. Kevin's then going to give us more of an anatomical, mechanical view of the shoulder and what's actually going on in there from a physiology point of view. And Narayan's going to do some exercises with us afterwards to incorporate that information and see how our image of the shoulder has changed. Exactly. So, just in a really limited way, if you was to use just one finger and just point to where you think your shoulder is, I've left it open. That's what you're going to get when you get a client, I'm guessing. And just show your partner and see how it compares. Just one finger. Just point with one finger. Yeah. And see just how different is it? Are you pointing to the exact same spot, or is it slightly different? And now that you've got a partner, take one of you and just trace an outline of what you think the shoulder is without going into anatomy. What just feels like the shoulder to you? If you just trace a line, so almost like a boundary. And then when you've done that, ask them how it compares with their own image of their shoulder. So now that you've drawn your own interpretation on your partner, see how it compares to their image of their shoulder. We'll swap, but just do one person for now. Thanks for asking. Yes, so we're drawing a boundary with our finger of what we define as their shoulder, and then asking them how it compares to their own image. So if they have a different image or not. Good. And then when you feel like you've done that, just swap over and draw on the other person what you define as their shoulder, and see how it compares with their own image. So just swap over and do it with the other person. So I can see a lot of people playing with movement at the moment. Just define the outline. Has everyone done that? Great, great. Yeah, I know. It makes you more curious, doesn't it? So just because we've just looked at the shape at the moment, what do you find as ways that the shoulder can actually move? Yeah, just explore. Let's take 3 different ways the shoulder can move and think of 3 different day-to-day actions that might be performed using those 3 movements. Yep. Yeah. Discuss it with your partner. You might even want to pair up with another pair and just discuss it. Mm. Have you guys found 3 and 3 movements? Yeah. Can I hear a couple? Like, okay. Do you want to show me? Okay. So it's a full circumduction. Mm. Mm. So yeah, that's combination. What are some of the simpler ones, perhaps? Handstands. Some elevation. Yeah. Because you do that every day. Anyone else? Oh yeah, box.
Swimming.
Swimming. So similar to the serve, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shimmy.
Oh yeah, shimmy. All right, just one more. This is too much fun. Just shrugging. Just simple elevation. Mm. Cool. So you can probably see that there's a few things involved in all of those movements. Whoops. But I guess from, in the basic anatomy books, we almost look at the 3 bones of the shoulder as the clavicle, scapula, and humerus. So if you look at that whole picture and what that constitutes, that's actually, 3 big structures. Right there. So, and you can see that the only place it's actually joined by ligaments is actually at the clavicle. So it's all the rest is held on by pretty much muscle, isn't it? I think. I should know that. So if you close your eyes for a second, we'll just start with the clavicle. And without even touching it, it's hard to do for us. Is there an image you have within yourself of your clavicle? You can close your eyes. Yeah. Can you actually visualize where it is in its shape? And how does it actually compare to your kinesthetic sense of the clavicle right now? Is there even much of a picture of it at all? Mm. Got a question?
During segment 1, after 1 ATM in particular, I discovered I had clavicles.
Hey, there you go. So now if you keep your eyes closed and actually start to feel your clavicle with your fingers. And just notice how that changes how you visualize it. Can you get more of a visual sense of it? And are there some areas that you still actually can't touch or can't sense? And then from a kinesthetic point of view, can you just see what the clavicle actually feels like inside you or as part of you? So have a feel of your partner now and see if you can find some of the bony protuberances of your partner's clavicle. Mm. 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 You probably find that's one of the most obvious bones we have in our body. It's easiest to feel too. Mm. So have a swap over and make sure the other person cops a feel as well. Yeah. And if your partner was just to move it, can you actually sense how it moves around that point where it's attached to the sternum? And if someone's playing with yours, can you actually sense how it moves around your own sternum, around that attachment? What directions can it actually move? Can the clavicle elevate and depress? Can it retract and protract? Mm-hmm. This one? Does it feel like that? I'm leaving it up to you guys to start with. Not giving you all the answers. I'm letting you figure it out. So yeah, can it raise? Can it lower? Can it protract and retract? Could it abduct or adduct? Or twist? Does it actually twist at all? I'll just see what kind of movements can it actually do. How would you define it? Can it actually twist, or can it only elevate and protract and retract?
Many degrees of freedom.
So So let's just try one of those movements, even if it was just reaching up in flexion, just flexing the arm, reaching. So it might be as simple as just raising it. Mm. God, so many questions. Bad joke. Bad joke. And just for a moment, if you put your hand on your clavicle and don't let it raise, how far can you actually take your arm in flexion before it has to engage? So if you just place your hand on your clavicle, you can feel how it raises, lowers. How far can you actually raise your arm before it starts engaging your clavicle, going forwards? Yeah. When does it start to actually have to engage the actual clavicle? And how about abducting? So going out to the side. How far can you actually take your arm before your clavicle has to move? Oh, good question. Before it engages or before it lifts? Have a both. That's mm. It's almost like how much actual engagement can you have of your shoulder without engaging or moving your clavicle? I find it quite restrictive myself. I can only get to about there before this has to actually raise. So, it's quite important. Or how much can your arm actually rotate before the clavicle has to start moving? Can it rotate at all without it moving? No. So you're going to see how it's actually involved and necessary. Yeah. Cool. Drop that for now, and we'll try the scapula as well. So if you feel just on yourself, see if you can find some of the bonier protuberances on your own scapula. Yeah. And if I hide Edward for a second, what visual sense do you have of your own scapula, or kinesthetic sense? No, you're deliberately hiding him. What sense do you already have of it without looking at an anatomy book or picture? Yeah, just some big thing at the back. Yeah, I can see everyone sort of almost like squirming just to get an idea of what it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now what if your partner actually puts their hands on it and starts exploring it for you? Mm. Mm. Can you at all get a sense of where it meets the clavicle, or is there too much muscle in the way? And swap over if you haven't already.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. It's a bit murky, and I think it's a bit murky around there for me. Yeah, I might have more muscle covering it too because I'm just put my head. Yeah, yeah. I reckon I have too. I thought I felt a junction about there.
So if you allow yourself to move your scapula a little bit, can you get a sense of how it moves in comparison to the clavicle? If you do some basic, just easy movements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if you want to feel it on your partner, feel it on your partner. But can you get a sense of how it relates to the clavicle as it moves? Getting a sense of how the scapula moves in comparison to the clavicle. Yeah. Or in relation to the clavicle, I should say. So you might want to try some of those really basic movements you were exploring before. So swap over if you haven't already.
Yes. Squeeze them together.
So if we go back to some of those basic movements again, and maybe have your partner put their hand on on that scapula, and see how far your arm can move before the scapula has to move or starts to engage.
Oh yeah, I can feel it actually. Yeah, I can feel it. I think this is focused on. I'll do this one. Yeah.
So yeah, if you were just to go and flex your arm in, raise it, how far can you actually get into that movement before the scapula has to engage or move? Mm. And try abduction as well. Good. And rotation? Have you tried rotation yet? Turning the elbow in and out? Mm. Mm. Good. Great. So just drop that for the moment. And if you close your eyes again, it just has your image of your shoulder changed and its components. Mm. Just a quick little check. Mm. And that big bony thing that it moves around, the humerus. You close your eyes or keep your eyes closed and just feel into where your humerus is. So you get a sense of the shape without looking at the bones. What sense do you already have if you just feel into it? Do you have an image or kinesthetic sense? And now just use your finger again and see what parts of your humerus you can actually feel. Might be a bit hard to actually distinguish what's the humerus and what's the other parts, but see if you can just feel what you can feel. Might be muscles you can feel on the way. How far down does it go? Are there any really easy bits to feel? And now that you've explored it on yourself, can you explore it on your partner, or one of you explore it on your partner and find some of those bony protuberances that are really easy to find? Cool. And just let your partner move it around and see. Just have a quick little look at its range, or the movements it can do, and just how it actually relates to the clavicle and the scapula. So you might want to put your hand on the scapula as well, or on the clavicle. And because we don't have all the time in the world, we'll swap partners. So you each get to go and just enjoy someone handling you so you can actually feel the sensations of it in yourself. Cool. And let's just leave that for now and just relax. And now if you come back just to closing your eyes again and just sitting in a comfortable position. What do you now sense with your eyes closed as being your shoulder? And can you maybe draw with your finger what you think it is now? How much has it changed? And if it's hard to draw a complete picture on yourself, you might want to do it on your partner. If it makes more sense to actually use your palms and your whole hand to feel it, it might be more defining than just a fingertip. Good. And now I'm going to hand you over to Kevin.
Okay, so in a, I guess an attempt to try and make anatomy interesting, or thought I'd go and basically. So, you're stealing all my. Jeez, man, I'm never going to tell you anything. So just to go and look at those bones, in essence, that we have been talking to. And I wish I had my iPad. And then if we... This is, in essence, what we've been talking to. So as you can see, you've got your humerus, your clavicle, and your scapula. I'll explain what the dots are, if I'm familiar, fairly shortly. But just a little bit further actually on the actual joint itself, as opposed to, say, another circumducting or very similar sort of joint, I suppose, being your hip. I guess as we've moved through evolution from being quadruped to bipedal, whilst your hip sockets are likely to have deepened, there's more actually of the head of the actual bone further into the socket to go and give you that stability. Obviously, to go and have your freedom of range with your arm, etc. What's actually happened to what's actually happened to the to the joint? Show you, bugger. I hide that. So I did this all on my iPad. I'm just saying, I've just discovered this today. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. Right. Sorry, folks. Looking at your joint itself, and in trying to blow it up. This bit in here is in essence your glenoid fossa. So that's the actual small part of which the top of your humerus basically joins onto. In showing others, when you then look at the main sort of parts of let's look at the main parts of the joint. See, all of these, in order to go and get that articulation, in essence, the glenoid fossa or cavity is receded and become like a small sort of cup. That enables all of your ligaments and all of your bones, sorry, all your ligaments and all of your muscles, in essence, around your shoulder joint to be able to go and articulate in that multi-axial plane. So it can go obviously in any direction. That's right, so that's just covered already. Okay, so sorry. In really trying to sort of demonstrate more what the sort of shoulders about. I'm trying to show obviously if you look at in essence the left side, you can see how much if I could get it just to center, you can see how much muscle in essence and how much muscle is involved around the shoulder. And all of these muscles that allow you to go and articulate obviously will have their what would be termed origins and insertions previously, but now calling proximal and distal. Proximal being closest to the body, distal being furthest away. So even when you look at, we'll see how far we get with this. When you actually look at even just the humerus bone, if you look at where all the attachments are at the bottom, and I appreciate this isn't the shoulder, but all the attachments basically here are for the forearm in order to articulate and move that. So your main muscles are going to start here and they're going to end somewhere around here to be able to go and shorten and articulate your elbow joint. In the same way that your shoulder, when you look at the top, or your humerus when you look at the top, all these blue squares, in essence, are denoting where the muscle is actually going to attach onto the arm. So as you can see from here, obviously the humerus being quite the longest bone in your upper body, plus with your forearm stuck on the end, so it's got a fair bit of weight. So you can understand when you then look at this side actually showing the muscle as it is, you see sort of how complex and how deep, multi-layered, in a sense you are to be able to go and get that articulation. I was going to go through a lot of the type of attachments, but I think you can pretty much sort of see that from there. The only other point really I was going to raise on this is when you think of every bone obviously has its purpose. And if you think obviously where we've come through evolution to arrive at today, I guess it's perfectly designed as it is today from the functionality that we are as humans. So when you're been searching along those landmarks to go and find your bony prominences and so on and so forth, what in essence you're actually really doing is actually finding where those muscles are really starting from. Because where you have a rough surface on a bone or you have a prominence that sticks out, the whole purpose of that structure is to attach ligaments going into muscle to enable that movement to go through whatever joint it is that you're talking about. But beyond that, it's you can just sort of go and see how complex that whole shoulder becomes when you just start to just rotate and go through that view. Obviously, I've hidden the muscle on the right hand side, but all of the muscles on the left all relate to and are obviously involved in the movement and articulation of that shoulder joint. So when you think as to Locky's earlier question as to what you think the shoulder is, whilst that might be more located from a pointing sort of view around here in order to go and articulate it, you're kind of using an awful lot of your torso, as well as obviously the top of your arm, in order to get through that movement. So if you think of circumduction being one of the most complex movements as to what might be shortening, what might be lengthening, what might be shortening and lengthening in essence the whole way through, and whichever way you're doing it, there's a whole series of very complex movements, which is why you won't find a program in here that shows it. Most of them will show you one single action for the demonstration of the muscles that you're using. But again, to circumduct it's quite a complex series of process. But really, other than getting really boring in detail as to what muscles go where and why and what they do, that is kind of basically, I guess, an inner overview of what it is that you've been searching, finding, and exploring on yourselves and on each other. But as good as that is.
Okay, now. So following a long line with this exploration of the shoulder and inviting you to experience it in new ways of various facets and all of its mysterious glory. I'm going to invite you all to play some sort of sensory game as such. So it's in partners and pairs to begin with. So just get into pairs. And basically, we're going to be driving a car. So one person's obviously the driver in front. Who will take my directions? All right. The person behind, the passenger, is going to be following. And basically, they're going to be following, leading basically on the scapula to begin with. And they have a bit of free movement. They got two hands free. You know, they don't have to hold the wheel like you drivers at the front. So they get to have a good feel of what's going on with the movement. Okay. So I'll give you 1 moment to do this. Yep, sitting's good. Sitting's perfect. But you can stand too if you like to. But sitting. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? We're also exercising our mind and imagination here too, which is very important. So with the directions, when I say basically it's like an auto simulation. So left hand down is like this, right? So if I say left hand down, I want nice controlled movements. All right. I'm assuming you all know, drive, just, picture roughly, it's a fixed position. Yeah. So the wheel's fixed, even though, it's really there. All right. So left hand down would be left hand out. Right hand down would be like this. Yeah. So if I say right hand down, it'd be 2 times, right? So all the rest should just come smoothly, S-bend, straighten up, etc., etc. All right. All right. Take the wheel, guys. We're off and running. We're cruising. We're going. All right. Passengers really feeling in, sensing it. 1 unit, 1 body. We're going. We're driving. All right. So we're taking a bit of S-bend, turning left, nice and smooth. Oh, yeah. Turn right. Go on this way. Don't get confused with me, discombobulated. All right, straighten up. All right, we have a left hand down. Another left hand down. Left hand down. All right, no, straighten up. All right, right hand down. All right, we're coming back. We're just cruising now. Okay, take it easy. Okay, Do it. Yep. Beep the horn. Beep the horn. Beep, beep. 2 times. All right. Yeah. Window down. Automatic. Automatic. All right. Come back. We're really exercising imagination. Now it's manual. Okay. Open up. Halfway. Full way. All right. Now it's good. Now we got the breeze in our hair. We're cruising. All right. Now smooth. Really smooth. Just nice, leisurely mountain bends coming across. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Now we're coming back to an 80K. We're just rolling. We're rolling. Excellent. Now, we're slowing down, so we're going to put the handbrake on. Okay, come lift it. All right, we've come up to some water now. All right, so in this state, we're actually driving something like a James Bond mobile. So it transforms. And basically, now the passenger's going to become the driver, and the driver's going to become the passenger. So we can switch around and we'll orientate to this side of the room. So just turn around in your posies where you are. Okay, we're transforming. We're literally venturing into the water now. And how the car actually drives. So now the driver of the car is going to be driving through breaststroke motion. Really just, yep, feel into it. We want smooth process. Wonderful. Now passengers really sensing how that scapula's moving, how all the parts in the shoulder are orientating with themselves in this swimming motion. Wonderful. All right, break. Pause. Thank you. Yep, you got that. It was fantastic. Easily. So we're dismantled. Now, standing up, please, kindly. Okay. So, next, just a couple of exercises. We're going to do the mock arita. So, just following us. And I mean, we're having about, as we're having fun and so we're playing, we're having probably about 25%, you know, light focus just on the shoulders. You know, we're going through, we're still doing the shoulders kind of thing. So we go 1 mucka, 2 mucka, 3 muckarita, 4 mucka, 5 mucka, 6 muckarita, 7 mucka, 8 mucka, 9 muckarita. Hey, muckarita. Hey. 1 mucka, 2 mucka, 3 muckarita, 4 mucka, 5 mucka, 6 muckarita, 7 mucka, 8 mucka, 9 muckarita. Hey, muckarita. Wonderful. All right. And just this one last one before I get you to sit down. Just, this is a nice one. This one's going to really loosen us up and open up our heart center. And it's going to literally, it's like a peeling open the heart to the sun to a salute. So there's 2 parts in it that flows. One's the peeling open and opening, and then a salute and back down to the heart center. And similar to that Feldenkrais lesson where we're prostrating down and really, you know, evoking the inner sacredness into movement. So, one more. And one more, because 3 is an auspicious solid number, just like the number of the bones in the shoulder. Okay, namaste. So, please now sit down on the floor, cross-legged kindly. Eyes closed. And just breathe for a moment, sense yourself. And where are you right now? Might sound like a bit of a funny question, but where are you in orientation with this open-ended question. And how do your shoulders feel? How does your head sit on your shoulders? Now, stripping away, you're only answering these questions to yourself. And when you do so, try to strip away any verbal context involved. So let the inner dialogue be central. Okay, so sometimes we can find, through life, carrying lots of baggage. We carry bags, literally. We can carry emotional bags, all of which usually correlate onto our load-bearing mechanisms, i.e. the shoulders. So, can you notice, are your shoulders slumped or are they upright? Are they in fluid connection with the limbs and arms? Really feel into them. Feel into your whole body. And now, I'd just like you to close your fists and bring your shoulders up and tense your whole body. Every little part. 1, 2, 3, and release. And we'll do this again. Shoulders up, tensing every little part. 1, 2. And one more. Bringing up. Tense. Relax. So in this state of being, going to go through a guided exercise called Mountain Solid. So in this position, legs crossed, the important part is that your spine is straight and you're in a steady position. So in this position, you find yourself quite stable and solid. If you're agitated, not solid, vulnerable, breakable, then you practice this in order to get solid again. The solidity, the stability of the body will help bring about the stability of the mind. And therefore, sit in a stable position and practice breathing in and out. This way, you become stable in your mind. Now, breathing in, I see myself as solid as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. My shoulders are the shoulders of the mountain, like the stretch of the majestic Himalayas. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Continue this. From time to time, a very strong emotion overwhelms us. That emotion can be anger or despair or fear. When we're overwhelmed by the strong emotion, we feel that we are very vulnerable. We may die. This is too bad because we are more than our emotion and we are more solid than we think. And therefore, practicing being solid like a mountain is very helpful. When you look at a tree during a storm, you see that the top of the tree is not solid. You can only see the tiny branches and a number of leaves on the top of the tree swaying back and forth, getting thrown around by the wind. You have the impression that the tree is vulnerable, very fragile. But if you see that the tree is firmly rooted in the ground, the impression that the tree is vulnerable will vanish. You see that the tree is much more solid than it looks at the top. And such it can be with our shoulders. We, the human body, the human person, is like that too. We have emotions on the top somewhere floating around, getting tossed around by the wind of thought, process, and strong emotions. But we have strong limbs that branch down as our shoulders, and our shoulders, our limbs, connect to our trunk, down here, somewhere below, around our navel. And the limbs and our shoulders and our head are all connected. And now with this sitting position, allow the air and the breath from the abdominal. Let your awareness follow the breath up through the shoulders, through to the head. And breathing out, follow it down too. Breathing in with the navel, follow the air up through our shoulders, through our head, through our trunk, through our branches, up to our head. Let them come down. And see yourself as mountain solid. And if we practice like this, 1 time or 2 times or 3 times, your emotion will not be able to destroy you anymore. Now you will know that you are more than your emotions. Therefore, this exercise is very important. We could practice it every day if we feel. So when we face a strong emotion, we know that in order to handle our emotions, we practice this exercise a few more times. So, breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Try sit in a solid way with shoulder awareness and practice this. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. And breathing out, I feel solid. Don't have to use all the words. You just retain the word mountain for your inhalation and solid for your exhalation. Mountain, solid. Thank you. Okay. And that concludes our